still remember the smell of the snow. Cold, sharp, almost alive. We left on the morning of January 7th, 1997. 6 friends, 3 tents, and a youthful arrogance wrapped in academic theories about isolation and the human psyche. No one really took seriously what the locals called the trail no one finishes. To us, Hollow Creek was just a point on the map, a forgotten place among the trees of the Bitterroot Mountains, perfect for recording data and laughing at our own paranoia. My name was Sarah Whitman, 22 years old, a psychology student. And back then, I thought I knew how to tell what was real from what wasn't. The hike started out easy. We laughed, joked, even sang as we moved under the dense canopy of snow-covered trees. The cold bit at our fingers, but the excitement kept us warm. Jackson, my boyfriend, led the group with a map and an unshakable confidence. Ellie, always with her camera in hand, documented everything. Ethan and Thomas debated local myths like they were punchlines. And Rachel, well, Rachel seemed uneasy from the start. She said she dreamed of screaming. We laughed it off. That first night, the cold tightened its grip. We pitched our tents on a small plateau between the trees, where the snow seemed thinner. That's when we heard the first sounds. Dry cracks, like footsteps on frozen twigs. A rustling that didn't match the complete absence of wind. Everyone heard it, but no one admitted it. We rationalized, animals, maybe the wind. Maybe our imaginations. The next morning, there were tracks around the camp. Long, deep, uneven, like something had dragged itself through the trees. They didn't belong to any of us, and not to any animal we knew of either. Still, we kept going. Jackson said we were almost there, a hidden valley where we planned to stay 2 nights for final recordings. But the higher we climbed, the thicker the silence became. It was as if the forest was watching us. On the 3rd night, Rachel snapped. She woke up screaming, saying something had touched her inside the tent. When we ran to her, we found her outside, barefoot, eyes wide, unable to form a complete sentence. Her nails were broken, like she had clawed her way out of the tent from the inside. After that, everything changed. The laughter vanished. The cold felt deeper, and the forest more alive. In Ellie's last recording, just before the camera died, there's a whispered question. Did you guys hear that too? We heard it, but no one answered. Rachel refused to speak the entire next day. She just walked in silence, her eyes wide and hollow, wrapped in her coat, muttering something under her breath that none of us could quite catch. Jackson tried to get her to talk, to say anything, but she flinched at his touch like a wounded animal. Ellie stopped filming. For the first time, she looked afraid. We were supposed to reach the valley by dusk. But by early afternoon, Jackson admitted we were off track. He didn't say how far, just that the terrain didn't match the map anymore. The trees were thicker. The light was dimmer, like the sky itself was sinking. No one argued. We were all too tired, too cold, too scared. We set up camp early that night. I offered to stay in the tent with Rachel. I thought maybe she just needed someone close, a voice to pull her out of whatever had her in its grip. But she didn't sleep. She lay there, rigid, staring at the fabric above us, her breath shallow. At some point, I dozed off, and then I woke up to her gone. The tent flap was open, snow blowing in. I scrambled out barefoot, shouting her name, my voice cracking in the stillness. The others came out of their tents, confused, groggy. Jackson grabbed a flashlight. We searched in every direction, our boots crunching over the snow, hearts pounding. It was Thomas who found her. She was kneeling at the edge of the trees, facing the dark. Not moving, just listening. When we approached, we realized she was whispering again, something low and rhythmic, like a chant. I reached for her, but Jackson pulled me back. That's when she turned. Her eyes didn't look like her own. They were wide, glassy, unfocused. And she smiled, not a warm smile, but something stretched and wrong, like it had been practiced in a mirror too many times. Then she collapsed. We carried her back. She was burning with fever, shivering violently, but still wouldn't speak. We wrapped her in blankets, tried to warm her. No one slept that night. Something scratched at the outside of the tents. We didn't look. We didn't dare. At dawn, we discovered the camera was gone. Ellie swore she packed it, but the bag was ripped open, like something clawed through it. Jackson tried to act calm, said maybe an animal dragged it off. But I saw the look in his eyes. He didn't believe it. None of us did. Later that morning, Rachel woke up screaming. She kept saying, "It's in the trees. It's waiting." We didn't know what it was. But deep down, I think we already felt it. And we knew we weren't alone anymore. That morning, Rachel's words echoed in my mind like a warning I couldn't ignore. It's in the trees. It's waiting. We packed up in silence, our movements mechanical. The forest no longer felt like a place. It was a presence, watching, breathing around us. We tried to retrace our steps, but everything looked different. The trail markers we'd passed before were gone, buried under fresh snow or erased by something unseen. Panic began to seep in. Jackson was the first to break. He insisted we split up, said it was the only way to find the way out. Ethan and Thomas followed him. Ellie stayed behind with me and Rachel, whose fever was worse now. Her skin was pale, clammy, and she muttered incoherent phrases, as if speaking to something only she could see. As the sun dipped low, Ellie pointed to something in the distance, faint lights flickering between the trees. "Maybe a cabin," she whispered. We moved toward it, hope blooming despite the cold dread tightening my chest. The lights grew brighter, revealing a small wooden structure, aged and covered in moss, but unmistakably human-made. Inside, we found remnants of a fire, old tools, and strange symbols carved into the walls, spirals, jagged lines, and eyes that seemed to follow us. Rachel collapsed against the doorframe, clutching her head. Her voice was a hoarse whisper, "They've been here, waiting for us." Suddenly, a noise from outside made us freeze, a slow, deliberate crunch of footsteps in the snow. We peered through the window. Shadows moved just beyond the tree line, too large to be any animal. The forest had sent its watchers. Panic surged. We barricaded ourselves inside, but the walls felt thin against the creeping terror. Rachel's fever broke with violent shivers, her eyes rolling back as she screamed words I couldn't understand. Ellie started filming again, capturing every moment as the shadows circled. Hours passed like minutes. Then silence. Too sudden. The door creaked open slowly. Jackson and the others stood there, faces pale, eyes hollow. "They're gone," Jackson said, voice trembling. "The forest, it takes you if you stay too long." Rachel whispered one final phrase, "It's in the snow now." We didn't wait to find out what that meant. We ran. Through the trees, blind with fear, the cold air biting our lungs. I lost track of the others. All I could see was the endless white and the haunting forest behind me, alive and waiting. Days later, I was found wandering near a road, alone, my clothes torn and frostbitten. No one believed my story. They said it was exhaustion, hallucinations. But I know what I heard, what I saw. The forest never lets go. And sometimes it calls you back.